So I said to him, pick out the place where we can get the freshest seafood in Chicago, and take me there and show me what I want to look for in seafood. So we've got Todd Barber here. Cool, my pleasure. Who's the fish buyer for Shaw's Crab House. And there are 2 and soon to be 3. And we're also over there, who you probably can't hear because he doesn't have a microphone on, is Sean O'Scanlan, who's the president of Blitz Seafood. And don't come here unless you're in a restaurant because they won't sell you. It's just for the trade. So, kind of with that in motion, why don't you take me for a little bit of a tour here, and maybe you could pick out some fish and you can show them people what you want to look for, whether they be oysters, fish, just do whatever you want.
Sure.
Okay. We'll follow you, and I'll let Paulo get over there. Yeah, go. We're here in this big freezer, and Neil's here, and he's picked out some fish. And this is whitefish?
This is a wild king salmon that we have over here. Again, like everything here is very, very fresh. As you can see, the fish is very cold. Obviously, it's been packed very, very well. It's very firm. You kind of want to, when you look at fish, it's kind of a whole experience with all your senses. And
there's not like a melon or something where it's ripe or the color changes.
Well, you want to, first of all, you want to look at the fish. You want to see that it's a fresh fish. It's not dried out. It's very firm to the touch because the flesh bounces back up. It also has kind of a film on it, and that film is a film that they get right out of the water, so you know if that film is still on there, the fish is very, very fresh. Okay. As you can see also, over in the gill, it's also very, very red, so it's also very fresh also. Another thing you want to look at too, again, it's kind of a sight thing, is you want to look at the eyes. As you can see here on this salmon, the eyes are very, very clear. And the clearer the eyes, again, the fresher that fish is out of water. We have more over here. We have, oh, the slip. See, again, there's that fish that I was telling you about, okay?
Baby.
It's a walleye. All right, and as you can see, again, we look at it, make sure it's fresh. It's got that film on it again, eyes clear, and it's not sunken down into the head.
Now, what about bruising on a fish? Is that important?
It is important, and again, it depends. A lot of that also depends on how it's caught, and if it was caught and if it was beaten up in the catching process. These, again, being very, very fresh, don't have that bruising on them.
By the way, when you're in a fish house like this, there is no smell of fish.
That, again, you're right.
It's clean and it's fresh.
That's part of the whole sensory thing that we're talking about. The other thing you want to do is not only just feel it and look at it, but again, fish is not supposed to smell fishy. It's supposed to smell like the waters it came from, whether it's the ocean or the lake or the stream or the sea it came from. That's what you should smell. And when you take this whitefish, the Lake Superior whitefish, and you smell it, and you know something, you'll probably smell it the first from the cavity, because that's what will go first, as far as being spoiled. And this fish has absolutely no fishy smell at all. It smells like Lake Superior. As you can smell.
There's nothing. I mean, it's
nothing at all. And again, that's just a really, really good indicator how fresh this is out of the water. This is probably no more than a day and a half out of the water.
All right, we're out here and we've got a salmon, a walleye, a whitefish, and a grouper.
Got it.
And we've got some crustaceans out here. Let's take a look. Why don't you start with the fish, because we started with that. And again, how do you fillet a fish? I mean, how do you set up a fish to cut it to serve to customers?
Well, again, the first thing we're going to do, like we talked about before, is to make sure it's fresh. And we've done that. We know that all these fish are fresh. Again, they're firm, the eye's clear, the gills are nice and red, okay? The belly's nice and clear, and it's all the fish smell like they should. Obviously, salmon, this is a good sized salmon, so we'll fillet this. At Shaw's, what we do is we usually serve like an 8-ounce portion, which most restaurants do. And for lunch, maybe a little bit smaller. What we do is we'll cut the head off through here, we'll open it up, and what we'll do is we'll separate each of the fillets, okay? And the fillet is actually as big as what you see right over here, okay? And then what you would do is, depending on how you would serve it, if you want to serve it with the skin on, which we do sometimes at Shaw's, you would take the scales off, and you would keep the skin on, and we'd maybe roast it or saute it with the skin on. If not, then you would skin it, debone it, and that's what basically you would do. And it's kind of the same. They're all flat fish, and they all kind of butcher the same way. The yield of this fish would be much greater than the yield of other fishes, simply because, for instance, this grouper has a very, very big head on it. So what you would actually have to do is you would have to cut all the way through here, and you would cut the tail. So we're looking at maybe less than maybe 35–40% yield on this fish. Okay. So every fish basically is different, but they butcher all the same way.
Let's talk a little bit about crustaceans here, the shells. oysters, mussels. Let's talk a little bit about the tags that are on there. To make sure that no one does get sick, and because they've done such a great job in the industry itself, policing itself, tell me about this tag.
Okay. With Plit, like every other distributor, they're required to have a tag along with the shellfish that they're selling. All right. This is the oysters. Over here we have little neck clams, and although they're a different variety of crustacean, basically they all have the same kind of tag. Basically, and the tag tells a few different things. It tells the bed or the location of where that particular shellfish was harvested from.
So we're talking not just the part of the sea or the inlets is where they are, but what area specifically?
That's correct. What area? Again, the state, the body of water. You know, again, if there's a little oyster, you know, inlet that it's located on, and exactly where. It also says when it's harvested, also, and then you know exactly when it came out of the water. Obviously, when it was shipped to Plit here, and then we know how long it's been here before we get it. Almost everything that they have here at Plit is somewhere between 2 and 3 days out of the water. We also have here, we have oysters. These are Malpec oysters, and these came from Prince Edward Island.
And they're not really ceremoniously packed very well. They've still got the weeds in them. I mean, they're just. So
That's
you'll
right.
brush these off, you'll clean them up a little bit?
That's correct, we will. Right before we open them up for the customer, we'll clean them off or brush them off, so we make sure none of the sand or the debris gets inside the oysters. We'll carefully shuck the oyster, and then we'll serve it. And this is a piece of food that's been alive just moments before they eat it. And it's very important that it's fresh.
I'm not going to obviously have you do that now, we decided, to fillet a fish. But I've got Todd and Sean here, and what we're going to do is a little bit later, we're going to, in another show, we're going to go over Shaw's and see how to fillet a fish.
We'll see how to fillet a fish. We'll see how to open oysters, clams, everything.
Okay, and what you don't want to do is you don't want to shuck oysters against the guys that work at the oyster bar there, because they'll beat you every time. So from Plit Seafood, good fishing, everybody.
Bye.